Hey there, welcome to Cooking Candor. Today we're going to make chili. And remember how I said that I don't really like meat very much? So that's not entirely true. There are certain kinds of meat that I do really like, and one of those is brisket. I'm pretty sure it's just because of the ridiculous amounts of fat that are in brisket. It is just excellent. So what I did here is I have about 2 to 2.5 pounds of brisket that I smoked. I seasoned very plainly, just salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And I smoked it for about 2 hours with cherrywood. And then I'm just going to take this and cube this up. Man, nothing really smells quite as divine as smoked brisket. It just, it is the most excellent thing. Your whole house smells like that. My hair smells like that. My clothes smell like that. I can't even escape it. And I'm just dying of hunger now. The worst part about this is this has had nowhere near an appropriate amount of cook time. So even if you try to eat it, you're basically just munching down on like really chewy, gelatinous fat. I also have some small cherry type tomatoes. They don't have to be cherry tomatoes exactly. You just want small tomatoes that have a sweet flavor. We'll just chop those into quarters. I just find that adding a little bit of fresh tomato just really kind of helps enhance the flavor. I have an Instant Pot Rio Wide. It's 7.5 quarts. So if you have a smaller Instant Pot or a smaller pan, you're going to need to reduce the quantities a little bit. I added a few tablespoons of oil. I like to use grapeseed oil in sauté mode. Make sure that the pan is completely heated. You can kind of see the oil ripple a little bit across the surface. And then go ahead and add in the smoked brisket. We need to get a little bit of brown on that. This takes a little while just because brisket has so much fat. So it's kind of trying to render fat and brown at the same time. It just really takes a little while. Plus, there's just so much of it. But once you get a little bit of brown on that, and you'll see the caramelization on the bottom of the Instant Pot pan, go ahead and remove the brisket. Add 1 large diced red onion. Sauté for a few minutes. Add 5 finely chopped cloves of garlic. Continue to saute for a few more minutes. Now we're going to add in our spices. Add 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of cumin, 1 tablespoon of red chili flakes, and 2 tablespoons of onion powder. Add 3 tablespoons of dark chili powder and 2 tablespoons of regular chili powder. If you do not like spice, you can substitute the dark chili powder for regular chili powder, and you can also omit the red pepper flakes. We're going to saute those just for like a minute, just until we can really smell them. It'll start to get really, really fragrant. Then we're going to go ahead and add in our quartered cherry tomatoes. I had originally purchased about 3 poblano peppers, and I smoked them, and then I broiled them and peeled them and chopped them. Unfortunately, 1.5 of the poblano peppers was not good, so I ended up with less poblano peppers than I really wanted. I also added 2 smoked jalapeno peppers. I just sliced them in half and put them on the smoker with the brisket. Add 2 12-ounce cans of fire-roasted diced or crushed tomatoes. Add a few tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. That's maybe 2 tablespoons. The apple cider vinegar is for flavor. It has absolutely nothing to do with gas reduction with the beans or anything. Add 3 tablespoons of slightly packed dark brown sugar and 1 ounce of 100% cocoa. I found this amazing bourbon that is intended to make ribs, but it's going in this chili. So this is Bird Dog Mesquite Brown Sugar Flavored Whiskey. We're going to add about 1/2 cup into the chili. I like beans in my chili. Not everybody does. It just kind of depends. But I've always had beans in my chili. It's just something, even though I think original chili really did not have beans in it. But for this, we're going to add some beans. So I like to use a mixture of different beans. I like to use red kidney beans, black beans, navy beans, and northern white beans. It's about 700 grams of beans total, and they are in equal parts. Add about 1 cup of beef stock. This actually probably should have been more beef stock than this, but because I was sort of reaching the limit of how much was supposed to go into this Instant Pot, I had to kind of cut back on it a little bit. But technically, it should have been about 2 cups of beef stock. At this point, taste this and then go ahead and salt it to taste. I probably had to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of salt. I also forgot that there is about 2 to 3 tablespoons of tomato paste that goes in here. I forgot to add it in earlier and I found it off to the side somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here now. And then we can go ahead and put the brisket back in, close the lid, and pressure cook on high for 1 hour. This is going to have a natural release, so it's going to take about 30 minutes to come up to temperature, 1 hour to cook the chili, and another 30 minutes for a natural pressure release. So in total, 2 hours. 2 hours later, this is what it looks like. The brisket is super soft and tender. You can just split it with a spoon, but it's still holding its shape. All the fat has just totally rendered down into the chili. It's extremely thick, rich, hearty chili. Smoked brisket is a required ingredient in chili for the rest of my life. The great thing about this though is that even though there's a lot of upfront effort in terms of like smoking the brisket and stuff, and it takes quite a while to make this, it's freezer friendly. So you can make a lot of it like I did and then store it in the freezer for like a year.